Welcome back, dear friends. This is Lit E City, the YouTube channel which always tries to bring you the best material, keeping in mind the most important topics for various exams related with literature. In today's episode, we are going to discuss about one of the greatest personalities of Indian theatre, Badal Sarkar. Badal Sarkar's contribution to Indian drama and development of Indian drama after independence is not, we can say, very much less significant. He is a great name, and you will come to know about many interesting facts about him and his plays in this particular episode. Okay friends, we will start with brief bio introduction of Sri Badal Sarkar. Badal Sarkar was an influential Indian dramatist and theatre director, but he is most known for his anti-establishment plays, which were written during the, we can say, uprising of the Naxalite movement in the 1970s. In fact, he founded his own theatre company, Shatabdi, and he founded it in 1976. He is treated as a pioneering figure in street theatre. Remember, this is very important in the street theatre as well as in experimental and contemporary Bengali theatre with his concept of third theatre, a very important term, dear friends, related with Badal Sarkar. He is promoter of this third theatre. He prolifically wrote a script for his Angan Manch, or what we can say courtyard stage performances, and he remains one of the most translated Indian playwrights. Dear friends, by the early 1970s, he was moving away from the proscenium theatre. Proscenium theatre is the traditional theatre where there is a gap between the audience and the actor. There is a wall the wall is invisible between the audience and the performers. The entire economy on which this theatre was premised, the costumes and props and all these things, he done away with them and he moved on to the street. Now, what the term we are saying that the most important about him is the third theatre. He distinguished this form from both the traditional popular folk forms like Jatra, which was very popular in Bengal street theatre, and he termed at the first indigenous theatre, the urban westernized proscenium model, or we can say model taken from the western countries. He called them second theatre, and mingling the elements of both these two, he created or he coined his own version of third theatre. Working as a town planner in India, then England, and later in Nigeria, he entered theatre as an actor. Then he moved to direction, and later he started writing plays and starting with social and satirical comedies. Between 1956 and 64, Sarkar produced 6 comedies, which include plays like Solution X, Ram Shyam Jadoo, and Kabhi Kahin. But he first gained reputation with Evam Indrajit, written when he was still in Nigeria working as a town planner. The plays seemed to capture existential angst, quest for meaning, and that spoke for an entire generation. You can understand the era in which he wrote this play. It was the post-war era. It was the era in which many African and Asian countries got politically independent, and the young generation of all these countries, in fact the whole new world, was witnessing a restlessness growing into the younger generation. In England, we see angry young man. In other literatures also, the similar expression of angst, anger, frustration, all these can be witnessed, and literature is obviously very much reflection of all these attributes. Badal Sarkar also represented this particular, we can say, emotional state, mental state with this play, Evam Indrajit. He followed them with plays like Baki Itihas, Pralap, Trishanga Shatabdi, Pagla Ghoda, and Shesh Nai, all performed by Sombu Mitra's Bahurupi group. Now, Bahurupi group is a group, we can say, talented street actors perform these plays in the street where common men can witness them without paying any ticket. 1976, he introduced his group Shatabdi, and it started performing at Surendranath Park. At that time, it was called Kurjan Park, Kolkata, and on weekends. And these open air and free performances that lead to his troupe traveling to nearby villages. And it is in this manner he popularized the drama into the very core, into the very heartland of Indian villages, and then presenting, we can say, the topical social issues, political issues in a very, we can say, attractive and interesting manner, which gained wide reputation for him being called playwright of public. He wrote several essays on his philosophy of the third theatre and also lectured widely on the subject. But later, he began to prefer the term free theatre. Instead of third theatre, he started calling it free theatre, explaining that it was free because public has free access, one thing, productions can travel freely to the people, third thing, any available venue, and stoking the claim that any space can be turned into a performance space. It can be a chauraha of a mohalla, it can be a street, it can be a bazaar, it can be a school, it can be anything. For his contribution to the Indian drama, he was awarded Padma Shri in 72, Sangeet Natak Akademi Award in 1968, and Sangeet Natak Academy Fellowship Ratna Sadasya, which is the highest honor in performing arts by government of India, in 1997. Okay, now we will have a quick look at some of his most important plays. Please pay full attention. These are very important one for the exams. The very first play which catapulted him to the, we can say, a household name in Indian drama is Evam Indrajit. Evam Indrajit is a landmark play in the Indian theatre. It is translated into many languages. Originally, it was written in Bengali language. Girish Karnad, he himself, Girish Karnad, is an eminent Indian playwright. He translated it into English, and it was published by Oxford University Press in 1984. It is an absurdist play in 3 acts, set in 1960s Kolkata, is about a writer's struggle to write a new play. The play starts and the writer is searching for a theme to write a play, but he finds none. At this point, he is introduced to a woman, Manasi, who suggests him that why should not he write about common people who are sitting in the audience. Now he invites 4 of the latecomers on the stage and asks their name, and they tell him that their respective names are Amal, Vimal, Kamal, and Nirmal. But he begins to question penetratively to Nirmal, and then Nirmal confesses that no, his real name is not Nirmal, but rather Indrajit. And he lied because he thought he should not break the convention, the set rule, Amal, Vimal, Kamal. So if he tells that his name is Indrajit, it will be like breaking the chain, breaking the set rules of the society. This very metaphor shows that how public, common public, they behave like a cattle. They behave like cattle, following the rules without questioning them. The 3 acts of the play portray the 3 major phases of the lives of 3 characters, Amal, Vimal, and Kamal. The first act dramatizes their studies, typical middle-class studies, examinations, hobbies, pastime, other things that characterize their college life. then they get jobs, they got married in the second act, various ambitions in their life, and achieve limited goals in the third act. So their lives are the routine patterns of the society in which most of the young people of generation follow a fixed marked for them by the society. Indrajit, however, he loves Mansi, but Mansi is his first cousin, so he cannot marry her because it's a taboo in the society. He wants to visit London, and this visit, he believes, will liberate him from the banality of life. Mansi does not agree to marry him against the taboo. She becomes a school teacher in Calcutta. They both write letters to each other, meet once in a year in Calcutta. He visits London, but this doesn't change his life in any way. He marries another woman with the same name, Mansi, and leads a typical mundane marital life. He realizes at last he is not different from others. So the whole play is about how we can become like a rebel, but the pressure of the society, the forces, they basically make us follow this rigorous order of society. The next play we are going to discuss is Baki Itihas, first produced in 1965 and translated as That Other History. It is a story of 40 years old Sita Nath who committed suicide, and Sharad and Vasanti, a middle-aged couple, they force the audience to introspect and analyze their once again self-centered and monotonous lives. Sharad and Vasanti, they are a middle-class couple, and the play opens with their usual Sunday business. Their conversation ranges from the payment of electric bill, wedding invitation, among other things. Vasudev, who is a colleague from Sharad's college, he arrives having morning tea with them, and they discuss about Vasanti, who is a creative writer whose last article has been a smash hit, and now she is looking for some new idea to write about. Sharad gives her a hint that from a news item from the newspaper, suicide of one of their distant acquaintance, Sita Nath. Vasanti starts to write her version of the story, and she makes it a domestic case of domestic unhappiness. Kanak, the wife of Sita Nath, is obsessed with a secure future. She is basically saving money to buy a house of their own. Sita Nath is rather, we can say, less ambitious. He only wants the love of his wife. Now, taking advantage of Sita Nath's love for Kanak, Kanak's father threatens him of making his wife a concubine if he does not gives him money for liquor. This is a sort of blackmail, and Sita Nath yields to this blackmailing, gives him money which is saved for buying the house regularly. Later, he has to sell the house site and withdraws the balance of money from the bank. Ultimately, Kanak comes to know the truth about that how money has vanished. But Sita Nath keeps the blackmailing of her father secret. She loses her faith in him and leaves him. In the second story, Sharad. Now Sharad also writes his own version of Kanak, discussing and he writes that how Kanak discusses Sita Nath's strange behavior with Vijay, who is a colleague from the school. Now it is revealed that Sita Nath has decided to persecute a student, Ashok, because Ashok was reading Nabokov's Lolita, which is about tabooed love. A hot debate over the issue of crime and punishment. Sita Nath confesses before his colleague Vijay that how the story of Lolita provokes the feeling of guilt in him because he has once raped Parvati, a 10-year beautiful girl, when he was posted in a rural area. He decides to punish himself, sending Kanak out of the house. He commits suicide. Now in the third act, critical remark of Vasanti on Sharad's version. Sharad realizes that he is also becoming obsessed with Sita Nath's and his idea of suicide. Sitanath's ghost appears when Sharad asks him why he had committed suicide. Sitanath shows him Baki Itihas, the images to prove the human history, which is full of cruelty, beastly extortion, and bloodbath. And he interrogates Sharad why he lives. Sharad has no answer. As Sitanath's ghost fades away, Sharad decides to commit suicide. But chance appearance of Vasudev with the news of his promotion saves him. Next play we are going to discuss is Tringsha Shatabdi or 30th century, which is basically an anti-war drama and deals with the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Nagasaki is the background. The protagonist, once again, his name is Sharad Chaudhary. He wants the mankind to take full responsibility of this atomic bombing. He conducts a mock trial calling up 8 spirits of the people associated with this 1945 bombing of the 2 cities. Figures like Major Furby, who piloted the aircraft that dropped atom bomb on Hiroshima, Major Claude Adderley, who piloted another nuclear bomb carrying aircraft to Nagasaki. He also interrogates scientist Albert Einstein, who is credited with inventing the theory behind nuclear weapon. A very, very popular play is Pagla Ghoda, produced in 1967, one of his most famous plays. It is woven around the simple premise: 4 men from different walks of life, they are chatting at the funeral of a young unknown woman. They sit at the crematorium ground discussing the mystery of young women's death. But while discussing their own stories, their love stories, their married life and their romance before marriage, secret from their past gradually come to the fore. The central character, who is the ghost of the deceased young woman, she keeps reappearing to try and have a conversation with every character, provoking them to face their lost love and guilt from the past. Gradually, the secret of their respective love lives are revealed. The deceased woman too shares her story of unrequited love, saying, Pagla Ghoda, that is, a cupid, the love never hit her, she never experienced it. So Pagla Ghoda is, we can say, the mad horse or the uncontrolled horse of desire, which basically destructs or which is uncontrolled, a rambling kind of force in a human psyche. Some other important plays by Badal Sarkar are Basi Khabar, Shesh Nai or There Is No End, Pralap, Delirium, Mitchell or Procession, Bhoma, one of very, we can say, important work by Badal Sarkar, and Bagla Charit Manas, another satire by him. So these are some of important plays and background information related with Badal Sarkar. I hope, dear friends, you enjoyed this class. This class is very important because Badal Sarkar and questions regarding his play are a frequent, we can say, topic on which questions are asked in exams. Best of luck, dear friends. Keep supporting the channel.